And up. And up. There we go. Alright, now. Oh, this is gonna be... Alright, this is nice. Like a true cat. Love it. Alright, and welcome back to the channel, everybody, and I hope you're doing fine. Today we're gonna have another game review, and we will cover Stray. Now, as always, at the beginning I will give you a short rundown what the game is about, and then afterwards we're gonna discuss graphics, audio design, level design, gameplay, and of course, way more. At the end, one final question: should you buy the game? And a little bit of rating. Let's go. Okay, first, let's talk about what is Stray. Stray has a very unique kinda and refreshing take on the whole adventure game genre. Now, it is completely in third person. It's a single player adventure game. Alright, so there is no co-op. As far as I know, there's also no co-op planned. And there's also no multiplayer / PvP. You are a cat. You probably guessed it already regarding, because of the title and the background footage that I showed you already. It's a very story-driven exploration game, so you live on the surface together with your happy cat family until one day you get separated. Yeah, that always breaks my heart when I see it. Now, don't you worry, there will be no spoilers in this video. This is completely spoiler-free. You drop down to a forgotten cyber city, you solve its mysteries, you work together with the cyber people down there, and you try to get back to the surface to reunite with your family. But this is a very short description of Stray, and now let's check out the other stuff. Next up, we're gonna cover the art style and graphics. In my opinion, Stray uses up-to-date realism graphics. I played the full game, and I have to say, there were a lot of moments where I just stopped, looked around, and I was like, wow, well done, great job. On top of that, and I think this is something that is very difficult to do, they captured the animations, or cats, I would say almost perfectly. Your protagonist, your little orange furball, moves 9.5 out of 10 times like a real cat and behaves like a real cat. How it reacts to environment, how it interacts with the environment is spot on. I owned a cat for almost 18 years, sadly not longer due to sickness. Yes, I know, cat tags, there will be pictures at the end of the video. Now, there's something else that I really enjoyed about the art style and the graphics, is you have different levels. They are all in an urban environment, so you're limited what you can do, but still they all had their own unique vibe. Like the sewers were different from the main city or the outer city, and that was really great. It's important because otherwise the environment does feel repetitive, and I did not have that feeling while playing Stray. I played a couple games over the last months, and they all used the same props over and over again. The amount of props was limited, so even though you were in a different area, it didn't feel too different. So, very well done regarding this, and I would rate the art style and the graphics from Stray top tier. People of course want to know if they can run the game, so let's talk about performance. I personally had no performance issues while playing Stray. Of course, my system is a little bit stronger. You can see my specs in the description, by the way. Here are the system requirements, the bare minimum, and also the recommended what you need. So Intel Core i5 or, Intel Core i5 8400, the AMD Ryzen 5, memory 8GB RAM. Like, we going through these specs, and honestly, it's not super demanding. I mean, it makes sense, because you don't see, or there's not that much going on in your screen at once. Also, they have a lot of settings actually to play around with in the game. If you're still having performance issues, you can tweak like shadows and all the other stuff to get more FPS. I honestly had like 100 something, 180, 190 FPS. There was absolutely no stress. Enjoyed it. There was also no random stuttering when I played, for example, Alien Fireteam Elite. With my specs, I don't know why, but there were a few sections in the levels where I played with 5 FPS or even 10. So absolutely no hiccups, no crashes whatsoever. So regarding performance, this was an amazing experience. Maybe I just got lucky. Next up, let's have a look at the audio. The soundtracks, the background sound, the ambience noise, the sound effects, everything is fitting in straight. There is not really much to complain about. I mean, you can hear already in the background a little bit of the music that you can find in-game that you can collect. But also once you have like more spooky environment, you can hear the ambient sound shifting, you can hear the background music shifting. It's really cool. There's one thing, I know they did it probably on purpose, which does not make a lot of sense in-game. Like, picking up items or the footsteps of the cat, they are loud. Of course I do that because otherwise you don't hear anything. You do not hear a cat tap on a wooden floor, you just don't. Or picking something up, it's just, they amplified the volume by quite a bit, so otherwise it would probably feel weird because otherwise you don't hear anything. So I get that, that is fine. So audio, thumbs up, let's move to the next one. In a story-based game, the story and immersion is very important, so let's have a look at that. So I gave you already at the beginning a little bit of a description regarding the story. So you get separated from your family, you try to solve a big mystery in the cyber city, and you try to get back to your family. There you go. So I have to say, this is nothing new. This is nothing that screams innovation or something like that. It is, we had this multiple times. It's still well done. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely well done, but from an innovation point of view, there is nothing new. You try to free the cyber city, you get some relationships to the robots. There is one challenge though with this game, and that is that these bonds are rather weak. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but I played Stray for 4 hours and 20 minutes and then I was done. To be fair though, I kinda played quickly through it. I did not find all the collectibles. I think 50% of the memories that you can unlock and that you can find, I did not get them. So you can probably stretch this to 6 hours. I did some exploring, but apparently not a lot, okay? And if you do not have a lot of playtime, then obviously it's difficult to develop strong bonds, okay? The immersion is great regarding how the cat moves, the cat acts, the ambient sound, the OST. It all works together so well. So story and immersion is good. It is kinda strongish, but it's not very innovative, which is fine. Doesn't always have to be innovative. This one here is not. Story is still good. Not the main focus of the game, but let's cover this one quickly. Difficulty. Okay, so you will definitely not get a Dark Souls-ish experience with this one. There are no difficulty settings, at least the last time I checked. I would rate this a family-friendly difficulty, okay? So it's more about the experience of the story and the game than the challenge. That doesn't mean that there is no combat, there is a little bit. That doesn't mean there is no action, there is a little bit. But again, the focus is not on, oh, you will die with this boss like 30 times, and at the end you get the satisfaction because you managed to surpass the boss. So that's not it, okay? Don't expect anything hardcore. I could play this one here with my kids and probably have a great time. The probably most important topic that we will discuss today, the gameplay. Let's start maybe with the controls. The controls are super simple. You have one for jump, one for interact, one for your UV light, and maybe one or two more, and that's it. Okay, so you don't have to struggle with a bazillion hotkeys or stuff like that. It's straight to the point, straightforward, just play the game. The gameplay itself is very smooth. The game is also helping you, should you be stuck a little bit. You have your little robot that you can ask, but also if you make a little meow, then the game itself is sometimes showing you where you need to go. So that is very cool. It's a very immersive way to help the player without invasive you know, user interfaces popping up and stuff like that. Hello, Ubisoft. And yeah, I think another good point about the gameplay is how the cat moves. Like, you have to jump a lot and move a lot, and you can just hold down the, I played it with the PlayStation controller, the X button, and the moment you wear the latch, the cat just jumps by itself. Alright. Also, You do not struggle regarding where the cat is jumping. I mean, we all probably played a little bit of Assassin's Creed, right? And you climb up the tower, and at the top of the tower, your controls decide, hey, this would be a very great moment to just jump all the way down to your death. I think we've all been there, so that is nice. I would like to see a little bit more playstyle elements. Like, at the beginning, you can't really fight the enemies, you just run away, it's mostly just parkour. You can fight back later, but it will be very limited. And one thing that almost had no screen time was stealth. Which is weird, because you're playing a cat. I wanted a little bit more stealth there, to be honest. I think that is kind of a missed opportunity. Stealth does exist in the game, don't get me wrong. But regarding screen time, it's not really there. So you have the dodging, the fighting, and the stealth. Everything is there. Gameplay so far, or when I played it, was very enjoyable. Some games are better than others, and here are the unique selling points for Stray. So here's my take regarding the unique selling point of Stray. First of all, it's a fresh approach at adventure. You always have this epic adventurer, you know, fighting against everything, slaying dragons, slaying zombies, slaying monsters. And now you play as a little playful orange cloud. And I think this is very cool. I love this, it's wholesome, I like it. Another plus is the accurate animations. I know I mentioned it already, but maybe you just jump to the section of the video, so I need to mention it again. I love that one. Lovely level design. It's just so well done. And after playing a couple games that had crappy level design, I want to stress this a little bit more, how important it is. Because all your immersion, all the gameplay fun means absolutely effing nothing. Should it be, or should the environment be bland, empty, and boring. Also, the charm of the game is great. And this is coming from somebody who plays normally very dark games, horror games, survival games, games where you do a lot of not very pleasant things, let's put it that way. So this was such a wholesome, nice experience that I wholeheartedly can recommend that one. Next up, let's discuss what did I like. Now this will be a little bit of a copy-paste from the last section, so let's get through this quickly before we get to the final rating. So fresh approach at adventure, you're playing as a cat, a little bit of roleplay, absolutely love that. The accurate animations are, I would say, almost all of the time on point. Very well done, and I think this was very difficult to pull off. The level design is a huge plus for me. It's lovely, it fits the different sections of the game perfectly. It's still all an urban environment, but you know, I said it already. But you go to the sewers or you go to the rooftops and you can feel a slight change of props and the environment, and it just fits. Now, it is a very charming game. I mean, I like cats, so that's pretty easy. But also the robots, how they behave around the cat, how you can interact with the robots. This is just on a whole, not a wholesome level. Now, there's a little bit of a conflict regarding my opinions here now. In a couple of minutes, I will say that one things that I would like to change or that I disliked was the short playtime with 4 hours and 20 minutes. However, on the other side, since it's so short, there are no drags regarding the story. I had a couple horror games that were like 9 to 10 or 11 hours, and honestly, I think these games, they would have been better by reducing their playtime by an hour or two. There were a lot of elements, super repetitive, well done, but still repetitive. And it felt like, hey, we are doing this now in our game to stretch the playtime. And this is something that you should avoid when you create a video game. So, yes, short game, but still I prefer a shorter game with no drags in the story. So overall, and I think this is probably the most important point, I had a good time. And I think this is the reason why we all play video games. There's one thing not on the list right here, but also something that absolutely needs to be mentioned is how they help you in the game should you be stuck. I think there was only one point in the game where I got stuck. And I kind of was a little bit short on patience. But otherwise, either your robot, your the one that is your friend, you're accompanying you through the story, helps you, or the game itself has, as I showed, some hints where you need to go once you hit the meow button. And I think this is lovely. No game is perfect, and neither is Stray, so what would I like to change? Now, before we start with this list, yeah, there's actually a whole list. Let me tell you this. I really had to do some nitpicking to find stuff that I disliked, okay? So this is complaining on a very high level. So let's start though with the most important point. And in total, I played this game for 4 hours and 20 minutes and then I was done. Again, I did not unlock everything. Again, I did not find all the memories that you can collect. So keep that in mind. I saw people play it 6 hours or maybe even 7 hours. But even then, that's not super long. So I would say 5 to 6 hours is maximum if you're not a hardcore collector. Then, and again, this is nitpicking, but this would have been really, really cool. There is no character customization. I would have loved to play as my own cat that I had years ago. That would have been such a cool feature. Also, and I had this one already, it's hard to create an engaging story if your game is that short. There are some turn of events, and they didn't really hit that hard, except maybe one. Because it's like, whatever. I just, you know, you met this character an hour ago, and now he's gone, and yeah, I didn't know you for that very long, so whatever. Then another thing is, some more voice lines would have been cool. Now, I know that voice lines are difficult to do, and you're like, Mike, nobody's talking in this game. What are you talking about voice lines? If you interact with the robots, and I'm not talking about the beep beep boop that they're doing, I'm actually talking about the text. It is always the same text. Now, you could, of course, argue, yeah, Mike, they're machines, and they're programmed to answer that. It would have been cool once you show them, for example, a quest item, and they would react like 3 or 4 different ways when you show it to them. That would be cool. Because it was always the same. Again, super nitpicking, but this was something where I was like, I was playing the game and I was like, it's a shame that they're always reacting the same way with the same kind of dialogue, not actually voice line. One more thing, it's not on the list. The levels are very linear. So I would not call this an exploration game. I think maybe I actually did that once or twice. It's more an adventure game. It's a story-driven game. And that's why you play this. If you expect huge levels where you can go into multiple directions and explore, not really. You have 1 or 2 areas where you can free roam, but the levels themselves, not so much. So that is very linear. But again, nitpicking on a very high level. This is going to be a quick one. Let's talk about playtime and replay value. This is something that has normally its own chapter and is a little bit more justified. In this video, probably not so much, because we talked about it already. So 5 to 6 hours, I would say, is the maximum playtime you can get out of the game. There is no replay value, in my opinion. The only replay value is that you can try and collect the rest that you missed. And that's it. With a price tag of €26.99, yeah, I say it's worth it. I know there are a few people out there like, oh, this is way too much, and there's of course the other camp that is like, oh no, this is totally okay. I mean, this is always up to you, how much money you have to spare. I personally think this is fine. I enjoyed it. I did not regret the price tag. I always compare it with going to the cinema, like the tickets for 2 people, buying some snacks and stuff like that, then you watch a movie for 2 hours, and you probably pay way more, and you definitely do not have any of that one. And the question you've all been waiting for, should you buy the game? And here we are, almost at the end of the video. Let's answer that question, and this is the neat part, because I don't have to really do that. Only you can answer this question. My personal opinion is though, yes, had a good time, enjoyed it. I would recommend this one in a heartbeat if you're into these games. And it's a peaceful story experience. The length might be too short, might be just right. We will never know. It's a one-time experience thing. So, yeah, I would say you should buy this game. almost the final chapter of the day, the rating. And everybody always asks me, how would you rate your game 0 out of 10, with 10 being the best? I rate Stray 9 out of 10. Here we go. So this is my final score. It's super high. It's not 10 out of 10, and it's not because of the nitpicking, like no character customization and stuff like that. It loses its point purely because I think it just needs a bit more playtime. I was thinking about this for a couple days, and I'm like, nah, dude, 4 hours and 20 minutes. Game is great, but I really wanted more. I really wanted more, and I think after seeing what they did, I was pretty confident that the studio could probably create maybe 2 hours more, maybe even 3. And that's it. So it's really just because of the playtime. That was a little bit sad. Honestly, I really enjoyed the game. So 9 out of 10, you already saw it regarding the stuff that I like, that the game is actually amazing by itself. And I hope we will see more games like this. Just a tiny bit longer regarding the playtime. And here we go with the promised cat tags. Keep in mind, please, some of these pictures are over 20 years old, so the quality is not that great. And that's my review for Stray. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this is not a final format. I will be going for the reviews, background clips, face cam, and some not super invasive notes here and there. And yes, I'm aware that the channel is going really slow right now. I hope I can change that somewhere in the future. People who deserve more than that can be seen here, my patrons. Thank you for the support, my friends. Thank you for watching. I started already a few reviews, I just need to finish them. I see you in the next one. Until then, have a good day. And bye-bye.